We have Susan Carver, who I consider personally an absolute dynamo in NECAN. Always love listening to Susan when she speaks on stage. She's very bright, intelligent, vibrant. She's fun. She knows how to make you laugh, and she knows how to deliver a point. Of course, these are all the qualities that we see emulated in our superstars in NECAN, and she is now joined the ranks of Royal Diamond with NECAN. So please welcome to the show, Susan Carver. Hello, Susan.
Hi, Mike. How are you? Wow, that's I think I need to invite you to do the speech at my funeral. That's amazing. That's awesome. Thank you, sir.
Well, no,
very much appreciate it.
We're going to get more into your credentials because people need to know a little bit more about you and really what kind of a business background you have through NECAN, your experience in NECAN, what your credentials are in NECAN, because we say Royal Diamond, and that can mean a lot of different things, but it'd be nice for people to know what kind of a Royal Diamond business you have. I understand, for instance, you have, I believe it's 8 wellness consultants of the year in your organization.
Yes, very fortunate. They're very fortunate that way.
That's an amazing accomplishment. So, and you can tell us a little bit more about that. You and I had a little bit of a chat yesterday, so I know a little bit about what's going on in your business, and I hope we're going to get into all that this evening. But well, before we get into the current reality, it didn't happen overnight. You've been in NECAN how many years now?
17 years.
17 years. So this has been a journey. This has not been an event or a happening. It's most certainly been a journey. So let's go all the way back to when this journey first got started. What was your life all about? What were you doing? How did NECAN land on your doorstep? And for goodness sake, why did you even consider it?
Well, there wasn't anything exciting going on in my life. In 1995, I was getting ready to turn 30. And when you start coming out of your 20s, the world becomes a little bit more serious. I didn't do a lot of partying, but I mean, you start realizing you want a home, you want to be on a path, you'd like some financial security, and those things weren't happening where I was. In 1995, I was living in California, and I was working as a printing sales rep. It's a long story how I got out there, but the important part is that I was working as a printing sales rep on 100% commission sales, was very unsatisfied, very unfulfilled in what I was doing, and is very empty. And so the mental portion of what I was doing was very low and minimal. But then you go ahead and you compound that with a very small income, lots of competition. 100% commission sales means your commissions end that month, and all the good you did was thrown out, and you basically start over the next month. So it was just, I mean, thinking back, it was I still remember it very clear. It was a miserable time in my life, and I didn't know how to change it. I did know the important thing that I wanted to change it, Mike, but I didn't know how to change it. So it was really, I kind of describe myself as being down like in a spring type thing, and waiting for that something or to just show up that was going to put me on a different path, because the one I was on was not effective, not at all.
Wow.
So
okay. So how did NECAN come into your life then?
Well, one of my printing customers knew I'd been in a car accident, not anything major, but I'd been in a car accident, and he was nice enough to put me together with a gentleman that was already marketing these products, and he invited me to a wellness preview, and I went to be polite. So if there's any people watching this, someone asked you to do it, be polite. It pays off. I could have lied. I could have said, oh, I'm busy, or I got something going on, and I didn't. And I said, wow, the only thing I'm going to miss tonight is an episode of Seinfeld, and so I'll just go to be polite and satisfy this man, and just be, he's one of my customers, so I need to be polite. And so that's the circumstances which I walked into something called a wellness preview, which is an overview of this company and the products. And I at about 30 minutes, wasn't there for that man anymore. I said to myself, these products are unique, they're timely, this is medicine. You've got doctors, you've got pharmaceutical drugs, you've got surgery, and you've got chiropractors and physical therapists. And these products fill a need in medicine that nobody else is filling. And it felt big. It felt that that I could make a difference, and it felt like a path. And if I did A, B, and C, that I would be rewarded with A, B, and C without politics, without someone having to like me, above me, for me to get a promotion. It was a business to be in business for yourself, but not by yourself. And it was a tribe that felt right to me, of people that wanted to make a difference, but also financially had some goals that they wanted to accomplish. And once it wasn't just that night, Mike, it was that night caught my imagination of the technologies. They were so unique. It's like nothing I'd ever seen before. But then I wanted to see the compensation to make sure I wasn't going to be Mother Teresa or Nurse Nightingale running around helping people and not getting compensated. And when I saw the compensation plan, that was all that I needed, and there I went. So it was
Wow.
it happened quite quickly, and I kind of knew that I knew, and if everything checked out on the financial department, I knew that this was what I was going to do for the rest of my life, because it was going to serve me well, very well.
That's amazing that at such a young age, because I speak to young people all the time, and they have a very different perspective on life. They think they're going to live forever. They think that the world is just going to open up to them as soon as they breathe on it,
Right.
and they really haven't been through the school of hard knocks, so they really don't understand that that's just a complete illusion in terms of reality. The probability of them ever having the kind of life that we have is less than 1%. So why they would think so charismatically about that, I guess they just haven't done their homework. They just have not yet hit the reality of life. And so you had enough of that.
I saw the reality quite quickly, because by the time I was 28, Mike, I had worked hourly. I had worked salary, and I'd worked on 100% commission. So in those 6 years that I had after college of employment, I had worked in basically the 3 systems that are available to people, and none of those pants fit. None of them did. I didn't like hourly. I didn't care for salary. It was the you get a check and it's the same number in the bottom corner, and I was like, this is ridiculous. There's no chance for acceleration of doing anything. And then I worked 100% commission sales, and that wasn't fulfilling because of what I was doing, the product that I was marketing. So, yeah, I had a lot of good experiences in those 6 years before I saw this opportunity.
That's excellent. So it gave you the opportunity to be able to see the difference that this could make in your life financially.
Oh, yeah.
Now, in terms of validation in those first opening days that you were looking at this, did you have any immediate reaction with the products? What was the validation that allowed you to say, yeah, this is for real?
Well, the validation was part of the wellness preview. I went to a couple other wellness previews, and when I heard people that were getting results from people with the sugar disease and people that were having some sleeping issues and all the different things, I knew that not everyone in the room was telling a story, Mm-hmm. And the other thing that I knew is that I got to see very early on some people like yourself that were bringing down some very good income, and they had a lifestyle that I thought was something that I would like to aspire to. And I thought to myself, Mike, if I could get just half of what they were earning, then I would be able to call my own shots, be my own boss, and do something that I really enjoy and really make a mark on the world. See, one of the things that motivates me, if you can find people that have this quality that I have, is that I have a burden. And it is a burden to make a difference. That's when I'm the happiest. Here in my home office, there's an inscription of contribution. I am my happiest when I'm making a contribution, when I'm making a difference, whether it's someone, their knee feels better, or whether it's something of giving a doctor, which was one of my best distributors, that is just getting ready to prepare to close his practice and have a phenomenal Nikan income at the same time. It's just, those are the type of things that really stir me up and make me excited. So I got to see early on, it wasn't any product testimonial for myself. That's why I tell people they're making a huge mistake when they say, well, if this thing works on me, then I'll go ahead and be part of the company. And that's, I never had a personal product experience. I've had little ones as I've grown from 28 years old to now over 40, but I didn't have that initial wow experience. And I just borrowed them from other people, and I saw that the company was good, and it couldn't have been, almost 20 years old, if the products weren't good and didn't have value to them. So I just borrowed a little faith, but it didn't require a lot of faith. But it's just a big mistake to say, well, if this works on me, well, what if you're not a diabetic? What if you're not someone with problems? Then you're going to deny the millions of people or potentially the thousands of people that you could touch just because you didn't have the experience. So I just kind of I did it educatedly.
I think very logical. I mean, you're making a very valid point, and that is, what if the products only worked on me? Then what kind of a business would I have? That wouldn't be very good either.
That's correct.
So,
no, that's
but the thing that you highlighted at the beginning there that I've said many times myself is, especially when I'm doing trainings, is the one characteristic of all the Royal Diamonds I think that is the most common and the most consistent is this desire, this need to make a difference. That it seems to be, ultimately, we might come into Nikan because we see a real income opportunity and so forth, but I think the bug that catches us and grips us and keeps us is the notion that we can actually make a difference. And when we start to experience that in those little stories here and there, that's the validation. That allows us to see that,
absolutely,
wow, we really are making a difference. Okay, so there you are. You're just getting your foot in the door. You're starting to see things happening around you. Was it a fast start for you? Was it a slow start? What was the first year like?
The first year was me breaking almost every, I don't want to call them rules, but strategy in Nikan. I have broken almost every single one of them. Let me list them off for you. There's only one thing that I did right in my first year, and I'll end with that. Number one, I didn't use my upline team, the people that had sponsored me and the people that sponsored them. So I didn't ask for any help. I thought this was a business that you need a Social Security number and a pulse, and I didn't have respect for the industry of network marketing because I didn't understand it. That's it. It's not that I thought it was something bad or I wouldn't have put myself in that industry, but I didn't have the respect for it, that it requires certain things and certain things to come together to create a successful business. So number one, I didn't use my team. Number two, I didn't read any books. Number three, I only went to wellness previews when I wanted to. Number four, I went to Humans Being More training after I'd been in the company 2 or 3 years, because I heard that you do some crying in there and some personal development. So I hid. I don't know how I did it, Mike, but I avoided that. So I didn't go to Humans Being More until I was a gold. I didn't go to gold training until I was a platinum. I mean, I did so many mistakes. People don't even believe that. But the one thing that I did that was correct is that I properly capitalized my business. So I had my samples. So if someone wanted a necklace or someone needed to borrow something or if somebody needed a product for quick sale, I had those items. So the only thing that I did out of about 8 or 9 monumental mistakes that I started my business with, the one thing I did is I capitalized my business properly, because I couldn't understand how people would purchase a magnetic mattress pad without trying it first. And so I knew I had to properly capitalize my business, just like a gentleman that's starting a yard business. He gets the truck, he buys the mower, he gets the blower, the edger, and the clippers before he knocks on the first door and asks to mow your yard, Mike. And it's the same thing I knew. I knew I needed to have some samples. This isn't a catalog business where it's, this blue mascara or do you want the black mascara? I knew it was something that people needed to feel and touch. So other than that, my first year was a disaster. I don't even think I made $12,000 my first year, and I broke almost every single strategy in the business that you just don't do.
So something obviously changed. So what happened that caused that to for you to just sort of say, okay, obviously I'm doing something wrong? What was
you know what happened? I saw people that started the same time I did advancing in the company, and I was doing this. They were getting company cars. They were getting in the magazine. They were going from $2,000 and $3,000 a month to $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, and $10,000. And I knew them, and I couldn't for the life of me figure out what was going on, because I thought in some ways that I gave a better presentation, and that's not what it's about. What it's about is empowering your team. What's it about is making sure that you're doing all those steps that I told you that I was avoiding or that I didn't do. And it's about personal growth. And those people were growing mentally, and I wasn't. And that's about the second year, somewhere in the second year, I took all of my bad habits and I completely forgave myself. What's so awesome about this business, it's a very forgiving business. So you may go ahead and do this wrong and this wrong and this wrong and this wrong your first month, your second month, your third year. But when you decide to make a change in yourself and to create some very good habits and things that are successful, that prove to be successful, this is one of the most forgiving businesses you've ever seen. If I was a doctor, if I was an insurance agent and some other careers or construction, and I built some very poor homes, I'd basically be toast. But this business is very forgiving. What you do is you go ahead and you say that was then, and you take a fresh start and you develop fresh habits. And that's what I did. I started utilizing my upline. I have an amazing upline team.
Were you full-time at this point in time?
I was living in my mother's garage apartment, and yes, I was full-time, struggling along, and yes.
All right.
But when I made those changes, as soon as the shift happened, whoa, the income.
Business started to happen.
Well, yes, because I was attracting people that were right for this business. And I was spending my time with those that wanted to improve mind, body, family, society, and finances, and it was a totally different experience.
Okay, now I know I asked you this question yesterday, and your response surprised me, but I wanted to ask this again. Because obviously when you're into something for 2 years, having been where you've been, in 6 years you've done so many things, probably by that second year you're thinking, this is crazy. I mean, maybe I'm not cut out for this. Maybe I'm the wrong person for this situation. And I asked you yesterday, were there times, maybe not even in those first 2 years more often than others, but maybe even times following that you just thought, man, this is really not for me. I can't do this. And you considered getting out. And
absolutely not.
Yeah, and your answer was just that. Not for 1 second did you ever consider that as an option. Now that
No.
I find absolutely remarkable. But more than that, you had a reason why. Can you just share that a little bit? Why not?
Well, well, first of all, what are the other alternatives? I've worked hourly. I've worked salary. I've worked 100% commission. So working for someone else was not the answer to my satisfaction and to put me on a financial path that was going to let me experience some of the things in life that having some extra money does.
Okay,
so
but you just said that, the financial path, and you mentioned that yesterday. And do you mind me mentioning this, the fact that I did a real quick calculation? I said, Susan, that means you've averaged $10,000 a month day one.
That's correct.
And of course, it wasn't like that your first year, as you've just described, not even your second year. So clearly, the latter years made up for the
Oh,
early
yes.
years. And I think this is such a really, really important point for people who are looking at this or who are involved in this, that really do not appreciate the value of this compounding that you somehow bought hook, line, and sinker, and for a second
Absolutely.
weren't prepared to give up on. Can you talk a
Absolutely
little bit
not.
more about that?
I'd be happy to. It is the whole concept, Michael, of delayed gratification. I bought into that. And I bought into that of realizing in this compensation plan, if you have 6 individuals that are earning $2,000 a month, here or there, about $2,000 a month, that's $100,000 a year of income for you personally, or for me, or for anyone that's listening. So I locked in. I absolutely locked in, and I said, I can find 6 people on the planet that are as excited about this opportunity and these technologies as I am. I can find 6 people. There's 1,000,000+ people in Orlando, Florida. I can radically change my life. 3 people will make me $50,000 a year at $2,000 apiece, and 6 people will make me $100,000 a year. So that is the map, so to speak, that I've used. And why would you quit? There's an analogy that was used a number of years ago, that if you knew that there was $2 million in a suitcase in a hotel that had 1,000 beds, I mean, would you quit after looking at bed number 241? I mean, you wouldn't. If you absolutely knew that you would not be denied, that it wasn't a trick or a game, that if you did A, B, and C, that you would enjoy D, E, and F. And so when I saw that, and I saw people like you, and I saw all these people that were having this success, why would I count myself out? Why would I say that I'm not cut out for it? It's not about talent. This business is about developing a skill set. And in 1995, I didn't have the skill set. The skill set is listening and not talking. The skill set is helping people identify their why. Your skill set is giving a proper and exciting presentation of these amazing products, and doing it in a way where you're not selling people, but they're hearing about this water, or they're hearing about those insoles, and they're like, I have to have those. That is awesome. So it was those skill set that I realized that the people walking across the stage, the people that were in the magazines, and the people like yourself, all you did was keep on sharpening your skill set. So whether you come into this business with very little skill set that matches this business, or if you come into this business with the perfect skill set, you've already got those, it doesn't matter. It's the point when you grasp, when you master that skill set, not talent. You're a singer and you're a musician. I can't sing and I can't play the piano like you can, okay? Now here's the thing. I can hire Barbara Streisand's voice coach, and I will still never sing in, what is it, 6 octaves or whatever she has, one of the most beautiful voices in recorded music, in my opinion.
Agreed.
I can hire her. Hers is talent. Will I get a little further down the road with her coach? Probably, and not sound like I sound now. But the point is this business, thank God, is not about talent. It's about developing skills. So if I just choose to work on my skills and work on my skills and work on my skills, which are not Einstein type of talent, then I know that I can have what other people have. Why would I count myself out? It's amazing to me, Mike, and it makes me crazy when people say they quit Niken, because I just look at them and say, nobody quits Niken, because all of us are the president of our companies. What
That's
we
right.
do is we fire ourselves. Why would I fire myself just because my first year is not going as quickly as some of the other people that joined at the same time? That comes down to personal responsibility. Why would I point the finger that this company isn't working, the products aren't working? No, I need to personally grow. I need to take full responsibility, because the better that I get, then the paycheck will come up. Because the paycheck represents one thing, Mike. It doesn't represent your success. It represents your understanding of this business and your leadership. That is what it represents. So if you don't like your check, it's a report card on what you're doing. And so when you can take that kind of responsibility, which I did, I didn't point the finger, oh, this business doesn't work, oh, these products, everyone's cured of everything. They don't have acid reflux, they don't have any back discomfort, everybody's fine, so nobody needs these products. No, people need these products. What they need is a better me to communicate what it is we have. And when I started to do that, and I started to follow, quote unquote, not the rules, but I started to follow the things that make you successful, I couldn't stop the business.
Wow. Now, when would you say that momentum started to kick in, and about what year?
It came when I went gold. I believe it was in about my second year, maybe at the end of the second year.
And then when was platinum?
Platinum was 9 months after that. It was gold.
So you really had a roll going.
Yeah, and I remember distinctly not getting my bonus car that year, because I knew I was already moving up so quickly to platinum, and I had momentum. And here's the key: I had identified the people that wanted to play. I had identified the people that wanted to play, but I was able to bring them to the table because I was a more effective leader in communicating what we had, that we're not selling makeup, soaps, potions, lotions. We're not salespeople. We're consultants, and we help solve people's problems physically and financially. And when I got to that point, I started to attract a different type of people that say, hey, I want to do this with you. And
then diamond? What time frame between platinum and diamond?
Diamond.
Just for those who are new to the compensation plan, that's probably the biggest stretch in the highway, in my opinion, because it's not just a structural thing or a volume thing. I think that's where the growth really kicks it up a notch. That's where you really start to step into the shoes of being a leader of leaders.
It was I believe about 3 or 4 years after that. Because some of the people on my original team, they had a vision so far, but they didn't have a vision past that. And some of them on the team did. So what needed to happen is that's okay. I don't fire them. They didn't fire themselves. There was, hey, you want to stay at that particular level? Okay, that's fine. You're getting out of this what you want. Wonderful. I'm pleased. But what I want to do is something a little bit bigger, so then I need to bring in a couple other people that are going to fill those roles. And that's the idea of knowing where you want to go and looking at your team. So for instance, if you want to win the Daytona 500, you probably know that a 4-cylinder car is not going to be there. So I had to look at the motor, the team that I had, and know the race that I want to enter, which was the diamond race. And then I realized I needed to change it to a 6 to 8-cylinder car to get the job done. And so I had to go back and find a couple other people. Not that these people quit or didn't want to do anything. It's just they didn't want to move at the pace I did. And what's so beautiful at this business is you don't push them. You still work with them, but you go find people that want to move at that little faster pace of growth, and that's what I did. And then took it to diamond.
And that you are not limited by anybody on your team.
That is so true. In corporate America, and I got a taste of this, I'm having a flashback here, Mike. I just want you to know, and everybody on the call, I have not had this on, okay, since I worked at Disney in 1993. So if I have to get into some therapy.
Which, by the way, you had to buy today, right? You had to buy these.
Yeah. I had to go buy this for this program. It's like, Walt Disney World Information, this is Susan, may I help you? This is going to scar me. So if I have some psychological problems or something, Mike, I'm going to have to, you're taking me back to my $7.25 an hour days. But the idea, what I saw at Walt Disney World was, if these people up here don't like you, you're not going anywhere. And if these people up here are threatened by you and think that if they move you up that you'll go past them, they're not going to promote you. It is this whole mentality. I could see it in the favoritism, in the politics that was going on, and it was like, wow, this was like amazing. So if you wanted to do some extra and you wanted to excel and you wanted to go the second mile, it didn't matter, because these people had full control over your advancement. And how people get into corporate America and sit there at their desks and wait for someone to recognize their brilliance, to me, is just completely mind-blowing. Because if I was on your team and you and I weren't buddies, you have no control over what speed I take my experience in Nikken. I can take it up to yours, I can surpass yours, and that is the joy of this business. And I just don't understand that mentality of, you know, waiting 5 years for a promotion, or waiting 10 years to be a CEO, or 15. I mean, it's like, and then there's only one person. There's one person. You're running this race with 4 other people in your department. One of you is going to get it, and they could bring someone from the outside and completely dismiss 4 of you. I mean, and you spent 10 years chasing this one position and this one title, and they could be taken away like that. And even if you get it, it can be taken away. And people by the droves are sending out applications and resumes. And it's just like, really? I don't
Susan,
understand.
I hate to tell you this, but you have been undomesticated. So,
okay.
and that's exactly it. You are now unemployable because you know, the cat's out of the bag. You get the joke.
It was, how wonderful were my 5 distributors' wellness previews that week.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't about, you know, oh, I've got this down. No. Do my 5 people underneath me on my team, do they have it down? And that's when things started to realize. There's a person in Canada that I know, that you and I know, that said, a good leader's people think highly of the leader. A great leader's people think highly of themselves. And that, I think, is what reflects in hopefully my people, is for them to think highly of themselves. Not to think highly of me, but to think highly of themselves. So.
It's interesting. My goal in Nikken was to have an organization of 100,000 people and to be the least important person in my organization.
Really?
That was my goal.
Well,
obviously that means people don't need me. They might want me, but they don't need me because they're self-empowered. Cool.
That's
Listen,
excellent.
Take the next 60 seconds and give us your final, you know, what comes to mind, comes to heart that you'd like to leave us with.
Well, I just think that the reason that I've reached World Diamond is it's so logical. It's such a logical thing. If you find the leaders and develop them, they're going to pay you. It's not a question of if you're popular or if you have a master's degree, or it's just so freeing to know you can be who you are. Now all of us have to work on ourselves, but you can be who you are, live where you want. This gentleman here I don't even know if you guys on the call know, you never know where this guy is in the world because he has homes in different places, but it's just, you can be who you are. And but I just wouldn't be denied. I knew it was there. It was like that hotel room with the $2 million sitting in the suitcase. I just knew it was there because I saw too many people doing it. No, maybe I wasn't doing it at that moment when I saw a $600 paycheck or a $1,200 a month paycheck or what. It's like, no. It's still possible. because people are continuing to do it. And they're doing it with a 7th grade education, they're doing it with a high school education, they're doing it with a doctor, and they're doing it here, and an aerospace engineer, which I'm even sure if I knew how to spell that, Mr. Mike here. So you've got all these different types of people. And the validation of, there goes another one, and there's another one. And I just said, well, okay, it's just not my turn. I have to keep developing on my skill set. I have to help make sure that my people are developing their skill set, but I just wouldn't be denied. And why? Well, I'll end with this. Why would I put all of my dreams, all of my hopes, and in my entire livelihood in a corporation's hands? Why would I think so little of me to do that? And that's what people don't understand. And it's the idea of being the captain of my own rowboat before I want to be the first mate on someone else's yacht. I just don't, because they can throw you overboard, leave you at the next port. You're taking your whole future, your happiness, your love, your passion, your sweat, your tears, and your time, and your financial value, and you're just saying, here, I don't know what I'm worth. Why don't you tell me what I'm worth, or how long I'm going to be sitting at this desk? No, thank you. I will take my chances on myself, because at the end of the day, Mike, I know that I'm going to treat me better than someone else is going to treat me. And that's why I'm here.
You are awesome. And now you are next, and you're making it possible for others to see that it's happening now, and it could be them next.
That's correct.
Susan, thank you for joining us this evening.
It's my pleasure, Mike.
I look forward to those of you watching. This will be available for replay, for rebroadcast on YouTube within the next week. So please help share this wonderful message of Susan's out with the world. And we'll see you in a few weeks. Again, good evening. Thank you. And until we meet again, enjoy every precious moment. Thanks, Susan.
Bye. Thank you, Mike.